All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here. And wow. Okay, so I just finished The Wheel of Time episode season 1. And we need to get into it. So I want to, okay, I want to say first again, thank you for everybody who's been supporting the channel from this show. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to the conversation. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, all that jazz as we jump into it. I also want to say, again, I'm really loving the turnaround that I've seen from people who are finding the show for the first time and liking it, for the people who it took a second to come around. I'm loving the positive turn that I've seen. That just it did the negativity did not take hold, at least to me it doesn't seem that way, and that the detractors of this show can feel any way they want, because again, like what you like, dislike what you dislike, whatever. But I'm just really hopeful for the future of this show now. The more I see the positivity that's, I think, overshadowing the negatives. And let's get to talking about this. So, yeah, I really liked this episode. This is probably my favorite episode. And I really feel like it's really hitting its stride now. It's starting to get that stride and momentum. I feel like this is the real beginning of the show. I kind of feel like how, at the beginning of a Final Fantasy game, right? There's like a prologue. I feel like everything that we saw up until like episode 5 was prologue to this episode. That's really going to kick off the whole real rest of the series. I think we've had so much world building in the first 5 episodes, rushed as it is. And remember, I really do feel this way, so I want to make sure that I point out the things that bother me. And yes, we got there in a very rushed fashion. And we've changed a lot of things and blah, blah, blah. But now that I'm watching it with just the eye of watching what is being presented in front of me and not judging it from whether or not it happened like this in the books, to just, it's, I almost lost my train of thought. So no, this was really, really good, and I do feel like this is the beginning to the show proper. Even though it's only 2 episodes now away from the finale, but that's okay. It's okay. It's all okay. It's all just a bunch of stuff that we watch and enjoy and hopefully can talk about to each other, and share our love for this stuff. I want to also talk about how great the cinematography continues to be for this show. Holy crap, that first shot, like, as you're coming over the water to the fisherman's house, holy crap. This is where we're introduced, though, to Siwan, who is the Emerald Seat, the head of the White Tower, it appears. And in this episode, the reason I love this episode so much, is since I'm only familiar with book 1, I don't get all the interior, like the stuff that's going on with moiraine below the surface. In the first book, she's like, an unstoppable force that just, I loved it. I loved it. But we didn't understand her motivations, and she was a very gray area kind of character. And now in this episode, we really get to see behind the curtain with moiraine. And I loved it. See why Rosamund Pike would want to do this role just from this episode alone. Because there is so many layers to this lady who, has been out spying for 2 years, going all over the place, in secret, nobody knowing, like, what she's doing. And in this episode, she's forced to face those choices. And then when we find out the twist of it all, and then where it goes, it's just really good storytelling to me. and really good character work. The in the side, this and the sides of this episode, like her visiting Rand and Matt. Those are all just bonus stuff that's in this really well thought out episode. Like, it was really cool watching her get the power out of the evil out of Matt that passes through her and then into the dagger. Really, really cool stuff. The stuff with Matt that's going on, wow. But then, like we have her lying to Egwene and Perrin about her not seeing Rand, but knowing that he's okay, but like keeping that from her still. Like the way that she plays that, like why not tell them? But like I feel like that's calculated. Everything that she does is kind of calculated, and you can say the term calculate. When you say calculated, I think it has kind of a more kind of an almost negative way that we say it. Like that was calculated. Like seems like you're being a little shady, but you can be calculated and be completely on the up and up. And I think that that's what she does here. But again, it's just more side stuff where we get to see her concern about Perrin's yellow eyes and the whole thing with the wolves, But like what I like about her concern really is it's not that she's not concerned with their problems that they have going on, whether you have an evil dagger or you're turning, you can control wolves. I think she's thinking about how does this make the further journey more difficult? Like how would this stop me, us from getting to where we need to go? And I really like that it feels like it's there, but they don't have to say it. It's right in her face. And we knew now what her motivations are and why she's doing what she's doing, what she's willing to sacrifice. Now this character for me is less ambiguous, and I'm happy for it. I was glad getting this information without having to read further books, which I am going to do. But then when we find out that she's also with the head of this order and that this is all like, what are you doing? Like there's the fiction, the theater in front of all the women. That it is real what's happening, but like between the two of them, there's like this kind of theater going on, and I love that. I loved finding out this way. I also loved the way that she got there through the portal that's in a pitch. She closes the picture, uses that there. Like, thought that was really cool that they meet in this like little place, and they're together. They like each other, and this is where they powwow. This is where they, get, like catch up. They take this moment to be together, but also to exchange information and plot. They're sitting there. She's telling her, "You gotta exile me." She's like, "What?" Like, I just dig all this so that when they go back the next day to the whole court, there is a very real event taking place, but there's still that theater that's going on between her and Siwon. I always have a hard time with all these names. Siwon. But even in their theater that they're putting on, that they're pretending like they didn't come up with this, it's still very real what's happening. And so the emotion that she's feeling on top of this, of like what she's doing to save everyone and what she's sacrificing, makes her an even better character. Like the fact that we think that she's just a person who, on the surface, plays everything close to the vest. But getting a chance this episode to see the real her really was nice. And it's got to be a great acting experience for Rosamund to be able to play somebody that is already becoming more complicated. Speaking of more complicated, we got like Nynaeve, who her situation, all their situations are complicated, but I love Nynaeve because in the books, I mean, it's easy to say that moiraine's your favorite character. I feel like that's like saying Tyrion Lannister's your favorite character in Game of Thrones. It's like no doy. But like, what I like about the characters from the books that were my favorite, like Tom Merlin was my favorite character from the book. Not so much here. Like I said, it's easy to like Moiraine, but as far as the other characters that aren't Moiraine, just like the other characters that aren't Tyrion, I'm not saying that you can't like them like as much, but like outside of that, my favorite character on this is Nynaeve. She is to me the character straight out of the book, almost 100%. And just consistently being that character, and how she's in this situation with all these very powerful women, and she doesn't care. She does not care where she is and what this all means. Like, she's still gonna call you out, and I love it. And yes, she does get put in her place, by Moiraine, but I almost felt like Moiraine putting her in her place was almost like a reaction to the tongue lashing she received. But she's also saying these things to them because this is for real, and you guys have to be on board. You guys have to be ready for this. And once we get where we're going, there's going to be, whatever we've been through before is nothing compared to what we're about to go through. Just so like when we get to the end here, where she's standing there in front of where they go to the ways, and she's gone through this huge thing between, like having to leave everyone and everything. That last look, like looking at everything she's never going to see again. And who knows if that's true or not. I could almost see the show ending with her looking out there, like for the first time, but like at the end. But when they get... Oh, wow, I lost my train of thought. What I was getting to is when she gets them all out there, and she's trying to give them that, like, kind of pep talk almost speech, and she's like, I would have told you all about this, but I didn't trust you. Now that I've gotten to know you, and she just has that beat where she thinks, and she never says trust. She just says, look, I'm just going to lay it out to you. This is what's happening right now. We're going after the Dark One, or else everybody dies. And I love that she never says trust. She never says trust, because it's like, no, I don't trust them. This guy's a wolf. This guy had an evil dagger. Rand is Rand. Nynaeve is a wild card. And Egwene, I think, I don't really have anything to say about Egwene in that same fashion. She's just Egwene. But like when I say Rand is Rand, I mean like Rand is Rand. But I'm really excited to see where they're going with the last two episodes, because this does feel like we're ramping up to do a version of the end of book 1. We've got 2 episodes to do it, so I could see a good chunk of it being getting through the ways, and then having the final battle, and maybe a little bit of a where we're going to end up going in season 2. So anyway, I mean, I there's another thing in here that I really thought was cool, was the idea of a split dragon. What if they're like shattered? I kept thinking about the pieces of Mephisto's soul that got used in making Wanda's kids for some reason in in the comics. But I think that'd be interesting if there were a bunch of them that were all potentially like the dragon. Like they could all be the dragon as like a group instead of one. That's interesting. That is interesting. And I like that a lot. So yeah, that's about it. I'm trying to keep these a little bit shorter. So let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think of what was going on in this episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, if you liked this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, and the bell for all notifications, as we will be back next week for the penultimate already. See, this is what happens when you drop 3 episodes at once. Is all of a sudden you're at the penultimate episode in like a couple of weeks. So anyway, like, subscribe, bell for notifications, blah, blah, blah. We'll be back next week for the penultimate episode of Season 1 of The Wheel of Time. Bye.